Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting.
Nintendo.
You too will come to understand fear as I have.
To think that once I could not see beyond the veil of the something awful paywall, to see those who dwell behind. My life has purpose, for I've learned the true meaning of quality Let's Plays. I was once a fool. Hello everyone, my name is K. Kozeryax, and this is Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem.
Flesh, bone, bound together with the oddest magical incantation. This wretched book is where it all began so long ago. Before time, before humanity. I am Dr. Edward Roivas. I am a clinical psychologist. I am also dead. This is not my story, nor even the story of the Roivas family. It is the story of humanity. Like it or not, believe it or not, as you will. Your perceptions will not change reality, but simply color it. Humanity has been on the edge of extinction for 2 millennia, ignorant of so much and dependent on so few. The Guardians grow restless, their time once again near. Whether by fate or misfortune, my family has crossed their path, and they didn't take kindly to it. Their attention turns to my granddaughter, for she is the last of my line, and the last hope for humanity.
Alright, so first off, gonna get right into it. Defend ourselves from some zombies here. So far it's going pretty well. Haven't taken a hit yet. Oh, that did not happen on my practice runs.
Hello?
Miss Alexandra Roivas?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Inspector LeGrasse of the Rhode Island Police. I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's been an accident with your grandfather.
I'll be on the next flight out.
Ah, Miss Roivas. I'm pleased to meet you. I trust you had a pleasant trip?
Yes, I suppose so, considering.
Yes, my condolences. This is most unpleasant. It's a shame we couldn't meet under brighter circumstances.
Yes, it is. Can we get this over with, please?
Of course. This way. But I must warn you, it's not a pleasant sight. I'm afraid there's not much to see. Miss Roivas, is that your grandfather, Edward?
Yes, it's him. He's wearing our family ring. I don't understand. Why are you showing me this? Can't you check dental records or something? What is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. It's my job, lady. You're the only living relative, and no, we can't check dental records. There's no head. None of this makes sense. There's no sign of intrusion, and there was certainly a lot of force used here. I have never seen anything like this in my 20 years on the force. We have no evidence except for the body, and what's left doesn't say much. Ugh, we don't have a single clue.
Well, you better find out who did this. I'm not leaving Rhode Island until you do. There must be some clue in this old mansion revealing what happened. I want answers.
So do I. I wish I had some.
Alright. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem was released in 2002 for the GameCube. It was originally supposed to be a Nintendo 64 title, but due to the events of 9/11, they had to change certain details about the game that sent it back. I believe it was that combined with developmental setbacks. This game is one of my personal favorite horror games of all time. As you can see, we already have kind of a Lovecraftian vibe with the way the descriptions are. You may feel free to pause and read them at your own leisure. Important stuff like this, I'll try my hardest not to scroll through them very fast, but I've played through this game about like 20-30 times, so it's a little hard for me to do that. Let's take a look at this key we got. Okay, so there's your map, cinemas, options, and then items. So we have a second floor key. Let's go ahead and use that right away. Oh. Okay. Sure. Sure. So the reason why this game stands out, particularly among all the horror games that I used to play back in my early teen, mid-teen years, is because of the way that the game itself interacts with the player. It doesn't rely so much on darkness, jump scares, intense graphics, or anything like that. This was actually one of the first games to actually really introduce what are known today as sanity effects, which is a mechanic that messes with the player more so than the actual character of the game. over time there have been different takes on the sanity meter, but this game is where I personally think is the most well executed in. There was a demo for this game released on the 64 as well. As I aforementioned, it was originally going to be a Nintendo 64 title. It's actually one of the first-party Nintendo games to actually receive an M rating. I'm not even going to waste my time in that room, because we don't need to go there until the very, very end of the game. So you can see there's a family tree with a man hanging on the family tree. That's certainly something. Man, if only this were Luigi's mansion. Luigi wouldn't be able to handle it. If he saw a decapitated corpse, he'd be running for the hills. Yeah, some of these things have descriptions, some of them really don't. So, if you were actually paying attention to that clock in the foyer, it was actually set to 3:33. And if you stumble around in the mansion long enough, the game will actually tell you 3:33 when you examine the clock. And it's actually kind of a pain to get this exactly. Oh, I need to learn how to read a clock. I swear I know how to read a clock. Now, before we go to begin to unravel the mystery, let's take a look around and see what we can pick up. A lot of very unsubtle hints. Oh, but we can pick it up right away. This isn't like Silent Hill where you have to examine something 5 times in order to be able to do something with it.
I had no knowledge of what was to come, nor did I care. How the knowledge changed me, it will also change you. As you read this, you will come to learn fear as I have. You too will come to understand, or you will perish. To think that once I could not see beyond the veil of our reality. To see those who dwell behind. My life now has purpose, for I have learned the frailty of flesh and bone. I was once a fool. Where is Quiescandamest? viris conservandi. Facusatis aquae sumat, et animus eorum confirma. Pugna huis, dia sit modo prima multarum, si inceptum conficiamus.
Quam primum, Centurio Augustus. I would like to compliment you once more on your battle tactics. Our enemies did not have a chance. Do you believe that it really exists, Centurion?
I do not doubt our Emperor's beliefs, or his orders. But if we are to retrieve the artifact, then we must be strong and patient.
Pius is very lucky that that merely teleported him. Usually following disembodied voices is very often led to one's doom. Alright, so the first major character we're going to be playing as, or rather the first character in like our first official chapter, is going to be Pius Augustus, a Centurion soldier who's very well known for his battle tactics. That's pretty much all the details that he really has. If we actually look at that, there's nothing. It's actually the same Gladius that we picked up earlier. It might not be the exact same one. It looks like we have a typical zombie right there. Alright, now we wait for the zombie to come. No, screw that. Oh, the pop scare right there. Usually the candles do that. Very often. Keep you on your toes. Oh, look at that. I took damage. Pius has the biggest health meter in the game. For a good reason, because this is the tutorial chapter. They wanted to make it pretty hard to die in the tutorial chapter, obviously. Finishing enemies, it doesn't do anything right now, but it comes in handy later. We're gonna carry around these granite blocks. Just carry a big hunk of granite like that, like on our person. That's great. One of the important things about just killing enemies is to dismember them. You want to target the head first and then go for the arms and then attack the torso. That's usually what you want to do. Also, there's never a meter for this, but there's actually stamina in this game as well. So your character only has a limited amount of time that they can run for until they get outwinded. Go the voices again. The zombies are kind of funny too. Oh god. Because they reach for their heads after they get decapitated. I always thought that was a very funny detail. Another thing that this game is actually kind of known gameplay-wise for is its wall hit detection. It's actually really good. Well, now that we have all 4 blocks, let's put them in the respective slots. If you put the wrong one in, it summons another zombie for you to fight. Now, honestly, I think this is a really late part of the game to actually introduce how to properly kill enemies in this game. After you fight, like, a whole, like, army of zombies, then it's like, oh, here's how you fight zombies. It's like, oh, great, thank you. Oh, man. There were probably a lot of things in this temple that I could have examined that I miss. Honestly, the amount of things that you can examine in this game is rather overwhelming. This chapter will be finished rather soon. It's a short one. This game in particular is actually rather short. And here we are at the end. Now, you have 3 essences to choose from. They're not necessarily a difficulty selection, like most people would say, but I'm actually going to be doing this. I'm going to be starting with blue first, because blue is what I did on my first attempt at this Let's Play 10 years ago. Then I'm going to be doing green. I'm going to be doing that. That's going to be like a more of a veteran run. I'm just going to run through it. I'm going to have low sanity runs for both blue and green, but for red, we're just going to straight up break the game.
Eons have passed since then, and I have learned much. All at once, I understood. The forces of the multiverse all made sense under the transcending power of Ulyaoth. No mountain too high, no city too far. Face me, and you shall surely perish.
Just look at the stuff that we got real fast. It's made of fragments of human skin and bone. Endowed with magical powers. The spelling of magic in that way is, and it's specific to the kind of magic that is used in this game. So, yeah. And even Alex is bored with this. The reason why I am Let's Playing Eternal Darkness again after 10 years is because by the time I will be posting these videos, it'll be, well, maybe this one in particular, will be past August 22nd of 2018. which will be the 10-year anniversary of when I did my first Eternal Darkness Let's Play in August 22nd, 2008. This is something that I actually really wanted to do kind of a few years back. I always had this idea of doing like HD redos of all of my Let's Plays since, you know, game capture has evolved since then. I pretty much started doing Let's Plays like at the very dusk of the Dazzle age, when we started getting into HD afterwards, HD capturing after that. But now I have an HDMI converter on my Wii. I got HD capturing software. I've learned so much about Let's Plays over the past 10 years, and this is a game that really stood out to me, a game that I really love, one of my favorite horror game of all time, and the occasion was also momentous. So, until next time, I hope you guys enjoy watching the LP.